Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan,
I'm Ben.
and we would like to welcome you to the Detectives Show. For this week's episode, we will discuss the assassination of John F. Kennedy.
Motorcade begins the 11-mile ride to the Dallas Trade Mart, where the president is to deliver a major address.
On November 22nd, 1963, John F. Kennedy, the 35th and current president at the time, was shot 2 times and was assassinated as he rode in a motorcade through Daley Plaza in downtown Dallas, Texas. Kennedy was in the motorcade with his wife, Jacqueline Kennedy, Texas Governor John Connally, and his wife, Nellie Connally. John Connally was also hit in the shooting, but unlike Kennedy, he survived. According to officials, there were 3 bullets fired by the shooter, not 2. Kennedy was pronounced dead at the hospital, and his death was publicly announced by Walter Cronkite.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
The shooting took place from the 6th floor window at the southeast corner of the Texas School Book Depository. The route taken was chosen by Secret Service agents in advance. They noted there were thousands and thousands of windows looking over the route, but they didn't have enough manpower to inspect every window, so the decision was made to forego checking them. The shooter was a man named Lee Harvey Oswald, who was a U.S. Marine. Almost an hour after Kennedy was killed, Oswald shot and killed Dallas police officer J.D. Tippit on a local street. Oswald then slipped into a movie theater, where he would then be arrested for murdering Tippit and was charged with the assassination of Kennedy. 2 days later, while Oswald was being moved through the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters, he was fatally shot. The man who shot him was a man named Jack Ruby, a Dallas nightclub operator. Oswald's death was caught and broadcasted on live television, the first murder ever seen live on television.
Wow. That must be. I wonder how that was like for people to watch that on live TV. Like I think yeah, I've seen the footage before. It's yeah, I'll show you later, but it's really it's kind of crazy to think that that was like right after like a notorious or infamous assassination, just gets killed right. And there's a lot of footage of death actually in this type of case, so that's actually like I mean footage like where you can see like footage of people's death. Actually, that's kind of crazy. Even like JFK, you can see that.
Yeah, especially but being live where, you're not expecting it,
No.
and being
Yeah,
being subjected to see that is pretty crazy.
it's a surprise moment, so surprise attack. So that's yeah, but
Yeah. Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson would then be sworn in as the new president on Air Force One. A week after assassination, Johnson created a commission to investigate the John F. Kennedy assassination and the murder of Lee Harvey Oswald. Earl Warren, a Chief of Justice of the United States, was put in charge of the commission. According to the official ruling of the commission, there was only one shooter involved in the assassination, and that shooter was Lee Harvey Oswald, who acted alone. Lee Harvey Oswald had a dark past when he was younger. When Oswald was 12, in August 1952, his mother took him to New York City, where they lived for a short time with Oswald's half-brother, John. Oswald and his mother were later asked to leave after an argument in which Oswald allegedly struck his mother and threatened John's wife with a pocket knife. Oswald would be skipping school without leave or explanation. A reformatory psychiatrist Dr. Renatus Hartogs, described Oswald as immersed in a vivid fantasy life, turning around the topics of omnipotence and power, through which Oswald tries to compensate for his present shortcomings and frustrations. Hartogs concluded Oswald as a troubled youngster. Oswald had enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1956 and defected to the Soviet Union in 1959. While in the Marine Corps, he became qualified as a sharpshooter using the M1 rifle. Just 7 months before the assassination on April 10th, Oswald had attempted to assassinate former Army General Edwin Walker. While as a Dallas resident, Oswald was under FBI surveillance. But for some odd reason, the Dallas FBI office did not contact the Secret Service about Lee Harvey Oswald. This is very surprising since Oswald worked at the Texas School Book Depository, a building along the route the motorcade took, in the same building where the shots were fired from that hit and killed Kennedy. In the room the shots were fired from, a rifle was found hidden away, and 3 bullet cartridges that were matching the 3 shots heard. The rifle was an Italian Carcano M9138, and the 2 bullet fragments in the vehicle matched the rifle. With all of this, it seems clear that Oswald was the shooter and acted alone in the shooting. However, many people to this day question if Oswald was the only shooter, or if there was more than him. We may never know the answer since Oswald was killed by Jack Ruby 2 days after the assassination. It's interesting to think if Ruby killed Oswald to keep him quiet from possibly revealing the motive of the killing.
That's interesting because definitely, like, if somebody knew like a secret that you didn't want that wanted to spill out to the public, like if there was like a plot going on, it would make sense for him to like make him quiet, like not kill him, so he doesn't, we don't, because if he was, if he wasn't killed, Oswald, we probably would have known a lot more about this assassination. I think we would have known a lot. I think we honestly would have known if there was like a lot, if there was some
a second shooter, or if there was some sort of reasoning behind it. It would have been interesting to hear
from what he had to say. So I think that makes sense, because why would he kill him for just no reason? Oh, because he killed the president? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was just
it's a possibility, but there could be something deeper there.
Yeah, so I do think he was trying to keep him quiet for sure. So
at the scene of the assassination, the commission believes there was only 3 bullets fired. When the first shot fired, it had missed. The second bullet had hit Kennedy in the neck and also hit Texas Governor Connally. And the third and last bullet fired was a fatal bullet that was a headshot. Out of all the bullets fired, the second bullet is the strangest and the most controversial one. The commission states that it hit both the president and the Texas governor. This second bullet, an idea, is called the magic bullet theory. From the beliefs of the commission, the bullet had gone through the back of Kennedy's neck, exiting downward, and then entered through Connally's right side of his back, then exiting below his nipple, and then entered and exited through Connally's right wrist, finally ending in Connally's left thigh. It was concluded that the bullet found in Connally's stretcher was the second bullet, or referred to as the magic bullet. However, many following the case believe the trajectory from the 6th floor window where the shots were fired from is not possible. Renderings of the magic bullet on computers have showed it can be possible since Connally was sitting on a lower seat than Kennedy. According to the Warren Commission, the magic bullet theory is essential to their belief that Oswald was the shooter. The whole incident was caught on film by a man named Abraham Zapruder, who filmed the whole assassination on his camera. The film goes by the Zapruder film. As you can see in that film, there was not enough time for Oswald to fire 2 shots within that time span. If this magic bullet is not true, it would make sense if Oswald wasn't the sole shooter and it involved another shooter. The spectator in an incident once claimed that he was struck in the cheek by a fragment of the bullet fired. This is interesting because the fragment of the bullet that hit him was from the second shot, not the first shot, which makes the magic bullet theory unlikely. There was even supposedly more footage of the assassination from a different angle than the Zapruder film. This alternate footage apparently showed a second shooter on the grassy knoll. Unfortunately, this footage has supposedly disappeared. The granddaughter of the man who shot this alternate film sued the US government in 2015 and demanded the film to be returned, or that she be paid $10 million. Her lawsuit claims that the film is as important as the Zapruder film and could determine whether there was a second gunman when Kennedy was shot. However, the film had apparently not been seen since the House Committee on Assassinations in 1978. This committee was formed 2 years prior to that in 1976 and was to conduct investigations into the assassinations of both Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. The House Select Committee on Assassinations was created when a Senate committee confirmed that the CIA had withheld information on purpose from the Warren Commission investigation. The information withheld involved plots to assassinate Fidel Castro, the communist leader of Cuba. The House Select Committee on Assassinations concluded in 1978 that scientific evidence established a high probability that two gunmen had shot at Kennedy. The committee had directly claimed that, quote, "The committee believes, on the basis of the evidence available to it, that President John F. Kennedy was probably assassinated as a result of a conspiracy. The committee is unable to identify the other gunman or the extent of the conspiracy," end quote. Considering all of the claims made, there is some fair evidence to believe that Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't the only shooter. Now, let us enter theory time. The first theory is that George H.W. Bush was linked to the assassination. According to the book Family of Secrets by Russ Baker, Bush became an intelligence agent in his teenage years and was later at the center of a plot to assassinate Kennedy that included his father, Prescott Bush, and many more like various Texas oilmen. The book states that Bush could not remember where he was on the day of the assassination. But this may not be true since Bush was supposedly in Tyler, Texas, not Dallas, on the day of the incident. There is no evidence for this theory. Bush would go on to become the 41st president of the United States decades later, from 1989 to 1993. The second theory is that Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson ordered the hit on Kennedy to clear his own path to presidency. Evidence for this theory was supposedly provided by a statement by convicted Watergate conspirator and former CIA agent E. Howard Hunt, who claimed that Johnson had ordered CIA agents to kill Kennedy. According to the book, The Death of a President, Johnson had asked Kennedy to continue back to his job as Texas Senator. This basically means Johnson wasn't happy as vice president compared to the actual power he had held as a majority leader of the Senate. It was rumored that if Kennedy had lived, he might have dumped Johnson as his running mate in 1964. Johnson was heavily involved with Kennedy going to Dallas, since the president was aware that a feud amongst party leaders in Texas could jeopardize his chances of carrying the state in 1964, and one of his aims for the trip was to bring Democrats together. According to a woman named Madeline Brown, who claimed to be a longtime mistress to Johnson, said that Johnson had a meeting with several of the men after, which he told her, "After tomorrow, those goddamn Kennedys will never embarrass me again. That's no threat. That's a promise."
Okay, so I don't know about this one. I mean, the way he says it, he just sounds like a dumbass the way he says it. So, I mean, I don't know.
I think this is just, especially when someone's just claiming to be a longtime mistress or something like that, I don't really know what to think in terms of how reliable that might be. Because I can say, oh, hey, yeah, I've been sleeping with Biden and he told me this, or, like, I don't know. Anyone can claim anything.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going on in anybody's head. Like, I don't know what's going on in your head. You don't know what's going on in my. I don't know what's going on in anyone's head. Exactly like that. Exactly. So it's the mind is a very mysterious thing. So
Yeah.
I definitely I mean yeah. I mean you should never like always go straight ahead to a conclusion like, oh, she
Yeah.
so, but if that was really true, that just, I don't know, that's just.
But at the same time, some people are prone to oversharing, which might mean, that she was told that. A lot of people get too excited and their secrets and they want to tell people. So it's a double-edged sword. It's just which side you decide to kind of align with.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I agree. Because, like, oh, this is pretty cool. Oh, maybe I should tell somebody. Yeah. So I definitely I don't know where to go with this one. It's very interesting. So yeah.
Brown said that on New Year's Eve, 1963, she met with Lyndon Johnson at the Driscoll Hotel in Austin, Texas, and that Johnson confirmed the conspiracy to kill Kennedy, insisting that Texas Oil and renegade intelligence bastards in Washington had been responsible. Brown alleged that Johnson did not attempt to stop the assassination because he had hated Kennedy and had an intense desire to be president. Even from her own words, it is not possible this exchange happened due to Johnson's movements in Texas being heavily documented, and there's no evidence for this theory. The third theory is that Russians were behind the assassination. Of course, the Cold War was going on around the time in the 1960s, so there was tension between the two nations. Lee Harvey Oswald had tried to defect to the Soviet Union in the past, and many believed he could have been acting as a KGB agent. Oswald had reportedly met with a KGB agent just 2 months before the assassination and was at the Russian embassy in Mexico City weeks before the incident. For Russia, it wouldn't be the best choice to use Oswald due to his connections to Russia, and it would catch suspicions onto them for the assassination and a possibility of a war after. A fourth theory is that the Mafia assassinated Kennedy. 3 mob organizations claimed they were responsible for the assassination: the Miami Mob, the New Orleans Mob, and the Chicago Mob. While as Attorney General, Robert Kennedy had made moves against organized crime, potentially upsetting them. Jack Ruby, who killed Lee Harvey Oswald, was a Dallas nightclub owner who some believe had connections with the mob. Some people believe the mob was working in collusion with the CIA to carry out the hit on Kennedy. According to a former Mafia hitman, James Files, who was imprisoned, stated decades after the assassination that he had been the second shooter in the incident, saying he was a part of a plot in collaboration between the Mafia and the CIA. There is no evidence supporting this, but the most compelling piece of evidence is the ties between Kennedy and Sam Giancana, the head of the Chicago outfit. Giancana had supposedly worked with JFK's father, Joseph Kennedy, in the bootlegging industry during the Prohibition. There were rumors spreading that Giancana and the Mafia helped Kennedy win the 1960 election. In 1975, Giancana was scheduled to appear before the Church Committee about his role in a potential CIA assassination plot when he himself was killed. This is interesting to take into consideration if someone was trying to keep him quiet. The fifth and final theory is that the CIA was behind the assassination. The former head of CIA, Alan Dulles, was on the Warren Commission, and as a reminder, the CIA refused to give out information from that commission. There are a lot of crazy theories out on the internet for the CIA's motive for killing JFK. Some believe Kennedy may have found out the CIA had a plot to assassinate Fidel Castro, and the CIA felt threatened with Kennedy knowing, because Kennedy may have had a different plan or even disbanded them. So the CIA plotted to assassinate him so he won't interfere with their plannings. People also feel that the CIA could have picked Oswald to carry out the hit, as he was a known communist and Russian sympathizer. Another possible CIA motive was that after the failed Bay of Pigs invasion into Cuba, the CIA underwent personnel changes at the hand of Kennedy, which may have angered them. During the Bay of Pigs invasion, Kennedy refused sending out more American military support. The biggest piece in the CIA theory is that not only Oswald was with a potential operative, but it was possible that the operative was famously known as the Umbrella Man. In the Zapruder film and other photos taken at the time of the shooting, a lone man can be seen holding an open umbrella above his head. What makes this odd was that even though it rained in Dallas the night before, there was no rain at the day of the shooting. Kennedy was struck by the first bullet the exact moment the car passes in front of the man with the umbrella. Some believe the umbrella was a signal to another gunman to strike at Kennedy. A theory proposed is that the umbrella was a spy-like weapon that could fire darts, which could explain the slight hole in Kennedy's neck. A man named Charles Sensini testified to the Senate Intelligence Committee that he was the one that created the umbrella the man was using. He described it as an umbrella-like weapon that can shoot out darts quietly. An author writing on the assassination had claimed that the darts were fired through the umbrella's webbing once opened. There are pictures that showed the umbrella closed before and after the assassination. But during the assassination, the umbrella was clear as day, opened as the car passed the man. Another thing to note is that after the shooting took place, while other people were fleeing the scene, this umbrella man, along with another man, sat next to each other on the curb, undisturbed. After an appeal to the public by the United States Select Committee on Assassinations, Louis Stephen Witt came forward in 1978 and claimed to be the Umbrella Man. He claimed to still have the umbrella and did not know he had been a subject of controversy. He said that he brought the umbrella simply to heckle Kennedy, whose father, Joseph, had been a supporter of the Nazi-appeasing British Prime Minister, Neville Chamberlain. By waving a black umbrella, Chamberlain's trademark fashion accessory, Witt said that he was protesting the Kennedy family appeasing Adolf Hitler before World War II. An umbrella had been used in cartoons in the 1930s to symbolize such appeasement, and Chamberlain often carried an umbrella. According to Witt, the umbrella had blocked Witt's view and did not see the assassination. But in conclusion, this case remains a mystery to this day. Many people out there believe many things, but mostly that there was some sort of plot in the killing of JFK.
This case is just one of the biggest ones out there. I think it's my favorite one out of all the cases I read. Ever, honestly. It's just so weird and it baffles me every time I read about it.
There's a lot of different theories, and a lot of them have the potential of being true. And that's what makes it so interesting for me. That's personally my favorite part.
That's why I like this show a lot. I like because it's, you don't know. There's no definite but for me personally, I think the fourth and fifth theory make the most sense. I don't think the Soviet Union or the Russians did it because it wouldn't be the best choice for them to use Oswald because it would catch up suspicions on them. And
yeah, it would be. I feel like it would be too easy to link the two. But I mean, the interesting thing to me is there has to be at least one person out there, maybe not now because how much later it is, that knows the truth about this case.
Yeah,
and maybe it was just a one-off killing or something,
or maybe just I just want to kill this guy for fun. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. That could be just the bonus theory. That's a bonus theory.
But that would have been, we could have only known that had Oswald been able to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Because we won't know the truth. Who knows? This would be it's there's a very small chance we will know because Oswald, I think he was like 23 at the time. Wow, he was not that. Wow, he was not that old, but he was died. He died too. So he would have still been alive. Maybe he would have been like, he would have been like 80 in his 80s. So he would have been able to. He probably would have maybe gone to the. He probably would have done something like Frank Sheridan. Like the Irishman. Like he came to like
Yeah.
confess, kind of. Maybe he would have done that. I don't know. I
But then again, even if he did confess, you have to kind of look at it and kind of make a decision for yourself if you think that he's actually telling the truth or not, or doing it for some sort of infamy or fame.
Yeah, because but 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 like back to like the Russian part, like I don't think they did it because is if they really did and we found out, we would definitely declare war on them since they killed the fucking president. I don't think Lyndon B. Johnson did because I don't think he really hated them that much, and because from what I've read, like the woman that his proclaimed mistress that said,
Yeah.
Madeline Brown, yeah, whatever, that she said that she could have been lying, who knows, like he's kind of like for fame or just attention, but I think the CIA and the mob theories make the most sense. Obviously, if true, because or no, it is true. I mean, because since JFK he didn't do like things that he did things that possibly angered the CIA, like excuse me, but he like the CIA was probably not happy with the decisions JFK was doing, and obviously they were. I don't know if they were. I don't think they were scared, but they were. They didn't want to be disbanded, and they didn't want their plans to be interfered. Of course, I mean, no organization or group wants to be disbanded or like have their plans interfered.
Yeah.
Like how they wanted to kill the because I
With
think
the Bay of Pigs and everything like that.
like
Yeah.
Fidel Castro. The fun fact, I think he has the most assassinations attempts on him, like probably like 100 times. Like I think there was a cigar that they had a cigar that would blow up. I think I read a video that they had a milkshake that would be poisonous, but they actually something, I forgot what it was, but it didn't work out. I think they left it in the fridge too long, and or he drank another one, but because I know he was big into milkshakes, but anyways, so I think the CIA probably had to, they didn't want so because JFK probably had some other plan, so they didn't want to be disbanded, so they had one choice, they had to kill him, and I think since they want to be they didn't want people to think it was them, so because obviously the CIA is like they control our lives. They're so mysterious. Like they control our lives more than we think we do. Like
Yeah.
So I think they probably got Oswald. Since he has ties with Russia, since he defected to the Soviet Union a couple years before, and
Yeah, it's definitely probable.
people would probably look at the Russians like, oh, the Russians did it because the guy who possibly shot the president was because he wanted to become a Russian citizen, and he defected. So like remember we were talking about the Russian theory. He went to the embassy and he met a KGB agent months before, not that long before the assassination. So that's suspicious, I'll say.
Yeah.
I think if the CIA theory is true, I do think if the Umbrella Man, if true, also, I think it would make sense if it was a signal, if he was actually involved. Who knows? But I don't know. I don't know if he would shoot darts like he's the Penguin from Batman. But I do think it was some type of signal. If he was another,
It definitely could have been
because
some sort of signal. Yeah.
because he would because you said the umbrella popped up like right when the car passed him, so I do, but I mean it might be true, since I mean maybe what the guy said, I was protesting because like the British Prime Minister that was Nazi appeasing, yeah, like and also the Kennedys, they appeased Hitler, the Führer, before
Yeah.
World War II started. So that's interesting. but I wonder how they felt about that after.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely an interesting case.
yeah, this one is just so mysterious. But I don't. I mean, I do. But something I think we can both and a lot of other people can accept. I do think Oswald was definitely involved, and he was
Oh, no doubt.
yeah, he was the
I
social.
have no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's because he was killed and he was killed too. But like I do
Well,
think
I think his assassination or his murder confirms the fact that he was involved.
yeah, because why would they just kill him for no reason? Oh, because what if he didn't kill the president? So they definitely is something we more than we know.
Yeah.
So